And especially in this time of wanting to have more text that represent our students and focusing on cultural relevance and things of that nature, this toolkit really requires teachers to reflect on themselves, reflect on their students and the identities of them, in order to provide them with texts that truly represent who they are without additional biases or stereotypes.
Yeah, to add to that, I completely agree. I think also what I really appreciate about this toolkit is that it also keeps in mind the academic needs of the students, not just, or we're not just talking about cultural relevancy and expanding our worldviews, which of course is very important, but we also want to address the academic needs of the students. And the two go hand in hand, and not only do they go hand in hand, but they go hand in hand really well, because you are engaging the student culturally, and then you're engaging the student with highly complex academic text, and it puts you on a track for a lot of great outcomes, both for you as a teacher and for the students as well.
And I feel like that's really meaningful because, like, how often as teachers do we say, like, we wish we could be educating the whole child, but like don't have the time or don't have the flexibility. And so the fact that you can combine these things in a literary block and be, like you said, teaching complex texts and with like high standards of education and developing them as readers, you can also be developing them in things they so critically need, and our society so critically needs people to have this knowledge base and understanding of themselves and each other.
Yeah, additionally, I think it also expands our students' knowledge of cultures beyond their own. It definitely shines a light on those non-dominant cultures. However, for me personally, as a teacher, my students are essentially identified the same as me in terms of race. We are all Black. However, we share a variety of experiences. And so this toolkit really allows us to reflect on text and ensure that they are representing not only just our students, but students across the globe. We really want to build global citizens as teachers, and ensure that our students are not just building an acceptance or tolerance for other people, but a true understanding of other people. So I really feel like this toolkit combined with our summer PLC and collaboration has had such a strong influence in my classroom. I feel like regardless of what type of teacher you are, whether your curriculum is set or you're trying to plan for yourself, this toolkit is really useful. So for us teachers that have a curriculum that is set, I'm still super intentional about how I roll out those texts that are provided, ensuring that I'm addressing any stereotypes or biases while also ensuring that my kids are getting a complex lesson. But for teachers that may not have that and are planning on their own, the toolkit also provides them with a lot of resources to just find those texts on their own, ask the right questions about the text to address any harmful stereotypes, biases, while also providing those complex structures for our scholars.
I couldn't help but um, focus on that first step of the toolkit, and that is the know yourself, know your students part. And I realized I've always formed strong relationships with my students, but I've never intentionally, to the extent that I really need to, get to know my students, their backgrounds, their cultures, and also kind of demonstrate to their families as well that their backgrounds really mean a lot to me. Their families mean a lot to me as well. And it's a big part of our classroom. So one thing that I did that I feel like has really helped us with addressing complex texts throughout the years that we've done a family tree project, and they've all presented their family trees and wrote a little bit about their heritage as well. And it's not only given me a chance to get to know them, but it's also given a lot of the other students to get to know other people's cultures as well. And that really lent itself very well to when we were reading about famous Hispanics and Hispanic Heritage Month, and then my students were able to recognize some of the cultures that we were reading about because their classmates had presented on it. And so for that, I think this toolkit has really influenced me. I'm moving forward. This is going to be a practice I'm going to be doing every year.
Yeah, it makes me think of right before Thanksgiving, we were at Sparkle Boy with my students. And apparently in one of the other kindergarten rooms, there was like a lot of like very fixed. I have developed my gender beliefs and norms in my head as my 4 or 5 year old self. So that they did it before. So I was like, all right, what am I gonna do to really, try and avoid that? And my students were so like warm and affectionate and like supportive of like his mom should say yes to the skirt. You know what I mean? And like just like if we had never read that, they that would not have, that would not have been that was a changed mindset in that moment through like empathy and just caring about a character put in front of them, that will change how they act in the world if they see a boy in a skirt. And that was really special. That was really special to me.